What up, guys? Joachim here, and this video is going to talk about a little bit different topic than normal, but I think you'll find that my basis for the topic's exactly the same as a lot of my normal content. So just real quick, record keeping thing. I did post a bunch of videos this morning of readings from a book. It's technically by Elder Emilianos, but it's a translation and edit of his, I think it's a speech or a sermon, like some teachings that he gave, and it was compiled into a book. And somebody brought up a really good point that they asked if I had permission to share that information, or they just point out that there's copyright laws regarding that. So I did look some of those up, and I do not have permission. So for the moment, I am leaving them up. I did contact the press company that produced the book that I read from, and in the event that they either do not get back with me in the next couple of days or do not give me permission, then I will have to remove it. So that's a possibility. But if you're watching this video and those have not been taken down yet, you might want to go check them out. There's some it's just portions of the book. It's not the entire book, obviously. But the purpose was just to introduce, one, it talks about the Jesus prayer, which is very important. And Elder Emilianos goes into some great detail on prayer in general, focused on the Jesus prayer though. And then the divine liturgy, of course, is very important. So I think it's really good information to have access to. I find Elder Emilianos to be very encouraging. Like when I see his writings, I am very encouraged by what he says, and I find it very helpful to me personally. So you may too. But this video, I wanted to talk about my political views, which is odd. I think you'll find that the way that I'm approaching this, though, will neither be any side of an aisle or anything like that. And the one thing that I think, anytime I think about political views, is something that it's a hymn that we sing in the liturgy. And when Orthodox Christians sing hymns, it's almost always, if it's a hymn that's going to be sang in church as part of the liturgy, I think it's called an antiphon, which is just a short hymn, but it's always from the Psalms. So it's not like somebody wrote a hymn and we decided, somebody sat down with a guitar and wrote some lyrics out. No, it's it's directly from the hymn. And so we sing this almost every week. And it's also a psalm. For this one, I'm using the King James Version Bible, and this is from Psalm 146. Of course, that's 146. I think 146 might be the same in both Protestant Bibles as well as the Christian Septuagint, and just the Septuagint. And but if not, then it might be Psalm 147, I think, in the Septuagint. I'm not sure. Some of the Psalms in the Septuagint are off from the Protestant Bibles, King James Bible being a Protestant Bible. But it says, "Put not your trust in princes, nor in the Son of Man." That says, "nor in the Son of Man." I think in most translations it says, "nor in sons of men." Let me look at the New American Standard. I definitely don't care for that wording, because, we usually say Son of Man to refer to Christ himself. In this case, they're saying, "nor in the Son of Man," as in like a human son of man, sons of princes, that is. Don't put your hope in politicians. So maybe poor wording for an English translation, given that we refer to Christ as the Son of Man. But let me see how the New American Standard renders it. I would look at the Orthodox Study Bible, which is what I typically use for these videos, but one, it's downstairs. I'm actually am that lazy. I'm sorry. Or it's on my phone. There's just, you can buy it on your phone for $10. But okay, so this one says, do not trust in princes. I actually looked this one up, nor in mortal man. So they say mortal man. I like the King James wording, though, where it starts out and says, "Put not your trust in princes, nor in sons of men," is I think how we sing it in the liturgy. I like that, like, classic, old, very formal style English. I think it's cool. But, I mean, the New American Standard's a little more accessible to modern speakers. It says, "Do not trust in princes, in mortal men in whom there is no salvation. So for Christians, at least, this is a very important concept to understand, that, ultimately our hope when we have struggles and difficulties, when we have hopes about what the future will be, what the liberties that we enjoy as far as worship, and the freedom of worship, and freedom to freely go to church. It doesn't matter what politicians say. Our hope is not in those politicians. Our trust should not be in them to solve our issues. The kingdom of God, the Orthodox people is really, that is the church. That is our people. That is where we should be looking for encouragement and for community. The expression of the early church, of the churches founded by the apostles, they're not all communal. Like we read early on in the book of Acts, they start to set up these communal churches, but and that's in the book of Acts. Like we see that is the Jerusalem community, but that of course is not the only community. The communities that Paul goes and preaches to, and speaks to, they're not communal, living in communal societies, but they are a community. They are a people. So in today's world, we like to separate things by so-and-so's Russian or Greek or Serbian or American, or we even make them skin color based, where we'll say people are black or white, and we'll say like Asian as like a skin color. How racist is that? Like I don't know. Maybe not. I don't guess. I don't really give it a lot of thought. But we make these barriers, but for me personally, the way I see it is that when I see another Orthodox Christian, then that is my people. When I see somebody who is not an Orthodox Christian, maybe we have connections, maybe I love them as a person, but they're not part of the same people in the same way that another Orthodox Christian is. So it can be an Orthodox Christian that's from Kenya, that's a black man, or a black woman for that matter, and those people to me are closer than blood. But I could meet, somebody with my same interest, same skin color, same ethnic backgrounds. I have quite a few, and know them personally, but they're not part of my people. We don't share the same values. We're not, by blood, by the blood of Christ. They are not, we're not united in that same way. So as far as like my people go, my people are Orthodox Christians, and that really is like the way that I view politics. I don't trust in, at least I try not to trust in politicians and kings and sons of princes of whom there is no salvation. But so my family, though, has typically been very, very Democrat focused. So my mom has changed in the last couple of years, where she's no longer really identifies like openly as a Democrat. Well, I don't think she ever did, but she definitely supported Democratic candidates. I remember as a kid, she was very Bill Clinton all the way. And then, the scandals in the White House happened, and, they kind of were the people that made up excuses for why, it's okay. It's like, well, they would say things like, well, he was good looking. He's Slick Willie, which sounds awful, but, they were very indoctrinated into Democratic support. My dad's still like that. My mom and my dad haven't been together since I was like 5 years old, but my dad, as far as politics go, he is glued. He is fully immersed into like liberal, left-wing, political television. And so like it doesn't matter like if you don't disagree with him, if you don't fully agree with him, he will sit and argue with you about it. So this is my point of view, though, which really is in support of no thing. But I don't think that people in general should identify as politicians. Like a citizen of the United States should not identify themselves as a Republican or as a Democrat, because then you are kind of getting into the concept of like monarchism. So you have to identify with this party. You are affiliating with a political party. But the thing is, you're not a politician. So why would you give up your ability to, your freedom to do that? And anyway, so this is what I wrote on a post. I said, I wish Americans would stop identifying themselves as members of a political party. When someone says, I'm a Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, I had to throw that one in there just to, I don't know, just to give a third example. It's just a sign that they've bought into propaganda. We are citizens, not politicians. It's fine and even good to support politicians that you hope will make decisions that stand by your values. But as citizens, I would hope our votes consider how much of our own power and authority we sacrifice to those in power. America was supposed to be small government, big people. We made statements such as, we the people, for the people. Things like that are written into our political, constitutional beliefs. When I hear people now say and identify that as politicians, which has been the case for many decades in this country, it's a sign of a steady move towards big government and little people. America rejected a monarchy only to create our own brand of kingship in its place, with multiple layers of monarchy seated upon a throne of political houses. And that's exactly what our American government is. It doesn't matter which side of the political aisle you want to sit on. If you are an American citizen, I think that you should be open to voting for people that support your values and what you hope to accomplish, rather than just voting for a certain party. So that the bad part about that, or not bad, but the difficult part about that is that it puts a responsibility on you to actually search information on those candidates, to take some time to figure out what each one believes and what each one has shown evidence of in the past. Just because somebody stands up and says they believe in something or they value something, don't trust them. They will say whatever it takes to manipulate and lie to you to get you to vote for them. And then conversely, just because the media on either side of the aisle or whoever they are says something, I would not trust what the media says at all. You need to go back and look at those people's history of what they have supported and what they have accomplished in the past, and look at it very critically to see if they are people that you actually want to support. And I think ultimately our local and state politicians, our local and state governments are where we should begin with that, because they will make the biggest impact on you and your community. We get really caught up in the president and who the president is, but it's really our local government and our state politicians who make the most impact on us, our specific, where you live in your city, in your state, and things like that. So, that's maybe a little bit different perspective, but I think those are things that anyone should look into and consider. So those are my political viewpoints. Hopefully that didn't come across too offensive to anyone. I think most people would agree with what I said, and really I think it's just pointing out the importance of doing some of those things. You guys take it easy, and I will talk to you in a video coming very soon.